What's up, everybody? I'm Mason,
And I'm his brother Keith.
and welcome to the And His Brother podcast with your boys. Today, we wanted to go over a really important topic to our hearts, which is friendship.
Friendship.
The power of friendship.
We want to talk about, define what a friend is, talk about the significance of friendships and relationships, romantic and non-romantic, and the influence and effect that they can have kind of on you, on your growth, on your betterment. So stay tuned.
Stay here, man.
Stay right.
Literally don't move.
Don't, if you moved. Thank you.
I didn't want it to have to be like this.
15 seconds offset. Offset.
You read Man Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl?
Yeah, I hate it, actually.
Really?
I read it 6 times.
Everyone
Claremont
Claremont graduate university student in the psych department has had to get it for a class. I don't know if everyone read it, but has had to get it. So that's why there's probably 3 copies in this house.
I reread it, and every time I think this guy's kind of dumb, and
It's the Holocaust.
I'm partially convinced that's why he gets so much credit, because I'm like, I don't like your thoughts, but you came up with them in the Holocaust, so I think we give him a lot more credit than he deserves. Every time I keep rereading it, hoping I'm missing something, and sometimes I'll read it like maybe I'm the idiot, but I am sincerely convinced it's not that deep. I'll reread it. I'll read it again.
Victor, we're gonna get.
We're gonna include this.
We're gonna get to the bottom of this, Victor. Maybe you know what? I'll read back through. It's a quick read. I'll go back through. It's like 100 pages.
I don't know. We'll see.
So friends. So Keith, how do you define a friend?
I define a friend as someone that I am comfortable with, somebody who I trust to some extent, and somebody who I want to spend time with who also wants to spend time with me. Part of why I say I trust to some extent is I think there are certain friends I trust with different things.
Yeah.
There's some friends I trust to just show up, right? There's some whose opinion or advice I trust. There's some who I just trust kind of not to judge me.
Yeah.
Even if we're not crazy relating on everything else. So I feel like friends can serve different purposes. They don't all have to serve all those purposes. That's super, super rare. That's a wife. But yeah, I think that's how I define friend. Somebody I trust, somebody I like spending time with, somebody who also likes spending time with me.
I was gonna double down on that bi-directional relationship. That's not just I really like spend time with them. They're like, you're okay.
Yeah.
Is that? But for some people that might be cool.
Well, sometimes I've definitely had to hey man, we're really close, right? And I'm like, I am your friend.
But you, on the other hand,
right?
Are you mine? No, I think my definition of a friend has changed growing up, partially because of you. I used to be, this is not a bad thing at all. I was anyone
I was a bad friend.
No, but I was just anyone I was cool with, I'd be yeah, that's my friend, that's my guy, whatever.
And I feel I will say, I'll let you keep going, but in conversation, I will say that I'll say my guy or my friend or whatever. But if someone's yo, are you friends with someone? If they ask directly, I'm we're cool. Yeah, I feel that's where I slide now.
No, I think I've gotten better at making that distinction. Where I would never say to your face we're not friends. I would just be I would never say that.
I don't do it anymore.
But I'd be nah, we're in that situation we'd be oh, is that your friend? I'd be yeah, we're cool.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But exactly actually, if you were who are your friends, it'd be a much different conversation. And I think I'd define friend the same way. That bi-directional relationship, there's a level of trust.
Bi-directional. Define it.
Bi-directional, so going both ways, not just unidirectional, which is one way. So not I trust you, or I like to hang out with you, but you don't like to hang out with me, that's just one direction.
Yeah.
But if I like to hang out with you, and you like to hang out with me, I realize I did the same hand motion for both. But
it's okay.
You get it.
Yeah.
So bi-directional, bi means two. So, I was saying something.
Talking about friendships, is that bi-directional?
Yes. Having that bi-directional relationship of wanting to hang out with each other. I feel there is some level of similarity in either how you think, things you're into. There's something that usually bonds you. I feel most of my friends, we bonded through sports or just went to the same school. We the same stuff, work the same job. I feel I'm friends with a lot of my coworkers. Shout out to Harlem Lacrosse. So there is something that ties us together.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a lot of friends that I can think of off the top of my head where I'm just we are really,
Like,
really
yeah.
like so different that like there's nothing we like align on or anything. I feel
Yeah.
like, and I feel like that's part of it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's funny because I actually have a couple friends who I would call friends who I'd say we don't have much in common, but we have a lot of shared experiences too.
Yeah,
like my
I think
closest
that's fair.
friends,
Yeah, yeah.
we have similar mindsets. We have
Yeah.
like worldviews, stuff like that. But there's definitely people I'd call friends who we have different worldviews. We have different ways of processing. But we have enough shared experience. Like I've known them since I was little. Where I'm
Yes.
like, okay, I still enjoy your company. We can still talk about the past. We still get along.
no, that makes sense actually.
But like we don't think the same.
Yeah. And again, yeah, I think one of those other, just for me, key pieces is like trust. I would definitely say that for like my very close friends or my best friends, I can confidently say that I love those people.
Yeah.
And I am more intentional about who I say like I love or whatever. I can say like I like enjoy to be around somebody.
Yeah.
And like that's my friend, but I have become more intentional. We can get into love another day if we want.
I
But
was dropping off side story. I was dropping off a friend. It was a friend one time, and she like gets out of the car. She's like, "All right," and we had just started hanging out. Like I had known her from when I was younger.
Mhm.
We weren't like super close at this point. And she's like, "All right, bye. Like drive safe. I love you." I was like, "All right, like have a good one." She goes, "Say it back." And I was like, "What?" She goes, "Say I love you." And I was like, "Listen, like I hope you have a great night." She's like, "Say it back." And I was just like, but I was like,
skirt.
yeah, like in my head, I was just like, and like I did care about her, and I do love her.
Yeah.
But like in my head, I was like, we're not like at this point in time, we weren't that close. Like we hung out a few times.
Slowly roll up the window.
Right,
Like
I
what?
love it as the general term of like endearment for the whole world.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I just
That's
remember
funny.
being like, yeah, I've been a. Now I would just say it and walk away.
Yeah.
Love you too.
Yeah. Also, your eyebrows look really good right now. There was a wedding this weekend.
There was a wedding.
Shout out to Megan and Brandon.
Shout out Megan and Brandon. They're on their honeymoon, which is why he didn't hang out with us yesterday. What a jerk.
Anyway, but yeah, I would say that's how I define a friend. And I feel like we're pretty similar on that. Someone we trust, someone where there's a bi-directional wanting to be around each other.
Yeah.
And there's things that we share, whether it's experience, whether it's things that we like to do,
Yeah.
or the people we like to be.
Yeah, I would agree. And now that we kind of know like what friends are, obviously you got friends. I have friend. No, I'm just kidding. Why do you think friends, relationships, this connection, whatever you want to call it, why would you say, not even in general, first talking about you, why would you say it's important? Like for you.
For me personally, why friends are important? Nah, man. I think, especially as I've gotten older, friends are just
That watch stand is nuts. Continue.
the what? The watch stand is crazy. You can probably see it from there. That's why I'm trying not to wear it. All I do is work
It's
outside.
like an Oreo.
It is like a little caramel Oreo. No, I think why I need friends is I'm like blanking. I'm like, do I need them?
don't.
Like, never mind, guys. No, they're just people that I rely on to hold me accountable. They're people that I rely on for, like just like things in a relationship. Like they bring me joy. They bring me new experiences. Not they bring me. It's shared. It's shared. We bring it to each other. And they have just proven time and time again to me, and I hope I have for them, that that we can just trust each other. And when you're around people you can trust and have fun with, and that can hold you accountable, I just think that's a perfect recipe for a great friend. So those are the reasons I think friends are important for me.
That makes sense.
Another thing that I think is the reason why I need my friends is they have just been there for me. Having really tight friends that know me on a deep level and have been able to support me through some of the biggest hardships, that have been able to celebrate and cheer me on through really big triumphs in my life. I think so much of the reason that I need friends, and that a lot of people need friends, but I know we're talking about me, is just I think life was meant to be shared with other people. I think there's a deep inner longing for that, whether it's, I think it's, emotional, spiritual, and physical. There's a longing to be in relation with other people, and I think as I've gotten older, that's something I felt very
Realized
deeply.
we needed and stuff.
Yeah. What would you say for you?
I think the first thing for me that I think of is like the joy. Like when you said like your friends bring you joy or you share joy. I think when I reflect on like my best times in my life, I think I said this in another podcast actually, but like more often than not, it's sitting around a table, sitting around a fire, sitting around whatever with my friends and just laughing and just talking and remembering stories or sharing stories that we had when we weren't with each other. I don't want to say that that gives me necessarily purpose, but I think it does add to, just like the quality of life. I can go day to day. I can do my job. I enjoy the kids that I work with. I enjoy my coworkers. But knowing that I have like friends to spend the time with after work or outside of work, send memes to, text to, I think makes a difference. I think for me, I don't like accountability. So I'm not going to say, my friends do bring that sometimes.
Yeah.
I think they do actually, yes, a couple especially, do bring a decent amount of accountability. But what I know brings me more comfort is they bring accountability without judgment.
Yes.
So it's like, yo, bro, you got to quit that. Bro, you can do better. You can do this. But I know if I don't stop whatever the habit is, if I'm doing something immature or whatever, they're not thinking that I'm less than or lesser.
Yeah.
Or like they don't want to hang out with me less. Like they're not, half the time they're doing the same knucklehead stuff.
They just want better for you.
They just I got a text. What's today's date? I got a text yesterday, the 25th, and it was Nate, and he was just like, "I'm disappointed in you, bro." And I was just like, "That's
you tell me about this."
And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "I'm not upset. I'm disappointed." And he goes, "It's my birthday, man." And I was like, I still got time. But even like dumb stuff like that, like growing up, like I was never the friend to like celebrate. I don't really like celebrating my own birthday, so I definitely wasn't like, let me memorize all of y'all's. And he was kidding mostly, I think. But even that idea of like, yo, like you gotta be a friend, you gotta show up sometimes. And he has called me out for like not showing up, not answering, not texting back over time. And I have a few friends that have done that, which I will say, after I hit a rut, like it is better for me to be pulled out of that rut and be reminded like you have friends, you have these relationships. So I'd say that level of accountability and knowing that I can like fall on them without like being judged for falling. Obviously that's a very light example. They've held me accountable and supported me in much deeper things.
No, but that's important and that's relatable.
Yeah.
And I think that's what comes with the level of like, shout out to Nate.
Comes with the what?
I was shouting out Nate.
No, you said that.
I know. It's coming with the level of like trust in a relationship, being able to like go up to your friend and be like, "Hey man, like this needs to change," or like you got to work on this, or
And half the time it's like light. It's like, bro, what are you doing?
No, but it's out of
go do your homework. Something like dumb like that. But
no, so that's why I think that trust component is so important. Is so that when those things do come up, like there's no ill intention involved. Even if you don't agree, you know that the intention is like, for the most part, for your benefit. Like they're trying to look out for you.
Yeah, they want to see you succeed. They want to see you do well, be good, be safe.
Yeah, and if they're not trying to do that, they're probably not a good friend.
Or they're me, because I'm an A1 hater.
Big time haters.
No, I actually, I think that's an important like facet of what like a friendship is wanting better for the person. I think there are friends that like you where you're at, and that's not a bad thing, right? They love you for the things they know you to be, but especially as you grow, like there's definitely friends who are like, bro, you're changing, and sometimes you're like, that's the goal, right? It's hard to like know, like, should I not be changing? Should I be changing? And I'd say it's like, it just depends on what you're doing. Like if you're growing, you're pursuing career, you're pursuing grades, you're pursuing character, whatever, and they're like, bro, you're being weird, that's on them. But at the same time, they can like hold you accountable if they're like, bro, you're being meaner, you're being short, you're being, so you kind of have to interpret with your friends, like, what is it you want? And sometimes it takes making that clear. Of like, yo, bro, I appreciate you calling me out. Like, I'm trying to be a better student. So, like, don't get on me for paying attention to class.
Yeah.
Step it up with me, be a good friend back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think friends are important. I think friends are fun. To me, that's why they're really important. Life is just better with friends. Life is better with you,
F is for friends who do stuff together.
U is for ukulele?
Sometimes, but U is for you and me.
You and me.
N is for anything at any time at all.
Down here in the deep blue sea. All right. Mason, tell me, right? I got a lot of friends, and if we're being honest, I don't have any new friends. I'm fortunate enough that like my newest friend is from 2016 or something like that. Right? I don't make new friends. I'm not gonna make new friends. How would you say? Are there any steps you would say like to people who don't have friends or who don't have close friends or don't have deep friendships or don't like there's different levels of friendship, but like if I'm trying to make friends, get friends, develop these relationships.
Yeah. Well, one thing I think I'll say is, and I don't remember if I talked about this on another podcast, but I actually did not. I think the only reason I've kind of gotten friends over the years, especially recently, is just because my environment's been changing. Whether it's like, going from high school. You figure in the last decade, I've gone from high school to undergrad to grad school to now work. And so like my environment's been changing a lot. And so a lot of new people have been introduced. Yeah. So like, in a way I've been just kind of adapting and like building friendships pretty naturally through those changing things. And I can actually say, when I was going into undergraduate school, going into college, I had like a really great group of high school friends. And in my mind, I was like, this is all I need. Like, I'm going to go to college. I was relatively close to home. So I was like, I can just see these people when I need to. College will be whatever. And I really didn't have like an intent on like, I'm going to make a bunch of friends. Yeah. And I didn't make a ton of friends. But I did leave with a very, very tight, cool group of friends. And I feel like that was the same in grad school where I was like, I'll be all right. Started grad school in the pandemic. I was like, who needs friends? I'm online. I already got my crew. Yeah. And then same thing happened just naturally through going through class, going through similar experiences with school and life. With people that were just in those similar spots with you, naturally just developing friends through that. But if I had to give it like a little breakdown on like how to develop and maintain friendships, I would say one of the first things is just kind of getting out your comfort zone. Depending on the kind of person you are, some people might be more extroverted or more outside themselves and be more willing to go and talk to people, introduce themselves, start a conversation. Other people may be a little bit more introverted, where they're a little bit more to themselves, not really the first person to go out and talk. Maybe it even gives you a little anxiety. Maybe it makes you nervous. And neither of those things are bad things. That's just sometimes the people we are. Yeah. I think growing up, I was much more extroverted. It wasn't very hard for me to go up and talk to people. Now that doesn't what?
I would agree. Yeah. Of the two of us.
It doesn't definitely like necessarily mean like there's any more depth there because I'm willing to talk to people.
Yeah. Sometimes it creates opportunity.
But yeah, I would say that it helps create opportunity. So I can definitely say from my perspective, especially in like middle school, high school, college, making friends was just about trying to be a little bold and starting conversations with new people. Noticing like, hey, we're both in this class, or like, we both like this sport, or I noticed you wore like this jersey the other day. Like, what's your opinion on this? And kind of just starting conversations off any commonalities you can find right away is a really good place to start.
Yeah, and I think it's important. The two things you said is the opportunities, like, you've been in so many different places, and then the commonalities. I think a good step to take, let me make sure I'm in the mic. Deep in the voice. No, a good step to take. I used to do that in middle school when I was insecure. I would literally practice in the mirror, dropping my voice, and then I would go to school. Don't do that.
Find yourself.
Be who you, whatever. But I think, yeah, if you're struggling to have friends, make friends, like, I didn't have a lot. I remember middle school, I had one who I knew from kindergarten, and he had made new friends. So, like, we weren't kicking it at lunch and recess or whatever it's called, nutrition. And then I had, like, two that I kind of sat near, but, like, was not close to. Yeah. And I think a big reason for that is I didn't put myself out there. Like, I was very to myself, and I wasn't, like, happy about it. Like, I was not happy.
I was not a happy kid.
I was not, but I'm a moderately well-mooded adult. And we're in
middle school is tough.
Middle school's the worst. But I think creating those opportunities, so like going to the after school club, joining some kind of sport if you have the opportunity, if you have the time, if you have the resources to, putting yourself out there a little bit more can create those opportunities. And then I think the other thing is, trying to find commonalities. So it's probably gonna sound creepy, but like if you know someone's into something, you heard about it, they're joking about it, they're talking about a TV show, a meme or whatever, right? Being like, yo, I saw that, like that was really funny. I actually saw this one too, like, and like drawing commonalities of like things you share, because I think it can be really, really hard to just be like, hi, my name is Keith. These are the feelings that I feel, and this is what's going on. Right? That's really heavy. And if I'm 14, I'm like, if you're 14, we're all lonely.
Yeah.
But that's a lot. Like
Facts,
you're real intense, you know.
Yeah.
But like you can ease into those friendships, right? Build those connections. Because again, like these things are about trust, right? That person isn't gonna necessarily trust you just because you open up immediately. They're gonna be like, oh, this dude doesn't know how to get to know people, and that's a lot.
Yeah. And I think another thing too, just two very real things I wanted to touch on was one, the reality of it not always being immediate. I feel like sometimes like in TV, like you'd be watching like Disney Channel and it's like, oh, hey dude, what's up, blah, blah, want to come over today? And like that may not always happen.
Yeah.
I won't say it doesn't happen, but it may not always happen. But another thing is sometimes it may not hit. Sometimes there might be a bit of rejection, and that is scary. That's nerve-wracking. Kids are mean sometimes.
Everyone I was friends with my freshman year of high school and college don't talk to us. Besides like friends, like I maybe met in class, none of them are my friends now. No, the ones I hung out with. One from sophomore year, really, I guess kind of met him freshman year of college. One from sophomore year of high school. One from junior year of college. Like, I did not keep up with most people that I got along with, that I studied with, that I played sports with. Like,
had a lot of experiences with.
Yeah, like, we shared a lot of experience, and we were cool. But there was just certain things about them, certain things about me, that we didn't, like, vibe that deeply. So, like, when I graduated or finished school or went up to the next grade, it's like, it's cool knowing you.
Yeah, no bad blood.
Yeah.
No hard feelings for the most part. But yeah, I will say that's obviously what?
I did kick a kid in the head. Freshman year, there's a little bit of
Don't
bad
do that.
blood. Don't do that.
It's not you make friends.
That was just all, you were like, no bad blood. I was like, one bad blood.
That's fair. But no, I think that's just a reality of it. And I know that's something that does stop people from like wanting to put themselves out there, is the fear of rejection. I know just people aren't always open to making new friends, especially if it's like maybe you're at like a new school or you just moved and you're just in a new place, and like putting yourself out there to be like, I'm gonna walk up to those group of people and like say what's up, like that can be scary sometimes.
Yeah.
So all I would say is, one, you should still try to go for it. What?
No, keep going.
Yeah.
Let's count. One.
Yeah.
And then I have a thought.
One, I think you should still try to go for it. Be calculated, going with maybe a little bit of a plan, like, hey, what's up? Like, what are you going to say? Two, know that...
Vaya more real.
Oh, wait, did I even hit?
Let me... I just double check, bro. I'm not trying to talk
No, I was just gonna
and
tell
not
you.
be heard.
I was just going to tell you that I'm recording.
We'll post that. A little taste. All right, cool. So, yeah, I think, it's important to develop. That's how you can kind of develop friendships, is just being present, authenticity, right? Opportunities, and being patient. I think once you have these friendships, life happens, right? You move, you change, you grow, they change, whatever. You might grow down, you might grow up.
That happens.
Let's talk maintaining friendships, like keeping them going, basically. Any initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things about maintaining friendships is being consistent and trying to be intentional. And that level of consistency, like you said, can change. I think about now, like once you're an adult and like friends live all over the place.
Well, once a year is consistent.
Yeah, but like the consistency, like for some of my friends, is just like a few times a month, like calling them and just tapping in. Doing small, for me, I'll say for me.
It's it depends on the friendship, too.
Yeah, and it's like, for me, it's like doing like small tap-ins where you're just like texting, like sending them like a meme or something, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Still like having a real conversation every now and then and like keeping up, but I would say that I have some really long-term friends that, I maybe see a couple times a year. But I would say more so when you're like younger, like middle school, high school, even college, it's trying to stay consistent and intentional about like when you guys can see each other. Obviously, if it's someone that like goes to your school or like lives in your neighborhood, it's probably someone you see all the time.
Yeah.
don't take that for granted. Because one day your friends are going to move away and they're going to get married to some friggin' person and they're going to have like a kid or something. You don't even know that guy.
It's your boy looking at me, dog. You need to come get your boy.
He's known him for maybe a year.
Yeah.
Maybe. Nah, but what would you say is important to maintaining friendships?
Yeah, I think consistency, I would definitely double down on. Again, level varies.
Yeah.
I think the other is authenticity, again, but like some degree of honesty. So being real, I think the first way I'd say that comes is like being real with where you're at.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have to be like the forefront. Like most friendships are like, right, you're chilling, playing video games, like whatever. But I think when it comes to like really, really maintaining like good friends, there has to be some degree of honesty and, unfortunately, vulnerability. Which means if you're not doing so hot, you want to be able to tell your friends like, yo, I'm not doing so hot.
Yeah.
Struggling with this, struggling with mom and dad, or being jerks, or like I feel stupid all the time, or like it doesn't have to be like all the time. Like,
you know, when you said that.
No, cause I feel like I could say that to you.
Stupid all the time.
If yes, as some do. No. I just understand if you feel.
No, I get you. Yeah. I don't not, but like.
No.
I don't not go through seasons of that.
But no. Just
yeah,
being real with how you're doing, I think is like the main thing. As well, and like consistently real. You know, I know if I ask somebody how they're doing, and if they say good, like 9 times in a row, like every time, how you doing, dude? I'm doing good, man. You know, things or whatever. I don't know you.
Yeah.
Like, life happens, bro. You're not good all the time.
Yeah.
And that's fine, and we can be cool. Like, there's plenty of people that's how I answer, or like I'm alright. But with my friends, I do expect some degree of like realness from time to time.
And you built that. It didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't start, but you.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you would start it that way.
I mean, usually on my end, it throws people off because they're like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Yo, bro, I'm here and I don't want to be," and they're like, "My name's Sam," like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I built it. But I think for me, I'm generally like pretty authentic in that. Like, I don't like the lie, you know. Like, even with a stranger, like I won't go into depth. Like, if I'm really going through it, I might just be like, "I'm not my best, but like I'm here and I'm happy I'm here." Like, I might say that.
Yeah.
And a stranger's like, "All right, cool," and they can eat it. But I think being truthful in that sense is the only real way to maintain a friendship.
Yeah.
Because it is going to increase that depth over time,
Yeah.
right? If I'm not doing super hot, they might be like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. You want to hop online?" And it might just be that, right? And you're like, "Hey, at least they're showing up when I'm down."
Yeah.
Or it might be like, "Yo, do you want to talk about it?" Right? And the type of person will determine what kind of friendship that becomes.
Yeah.
But both are good friendships, right? You
Yeah.
need someone who can keep it lighter and keep you out of your head, and you need someone you can dive in with, and they're just different people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's also something, that vulnerability piece and that authenticity.
Yeah.
How you're doing.
Authenticity.
Might be, you know, a little tougher for the boys out there. Might be a little tougher for the guys, and that's it's pretty typical. And stereotypical that, you know, men don't share their feelings.
Yeah.
They're not vulnerable, especially with each other.
Yeah.
And I think that has led to a lot of just negative habits, a lot of mental health crises, because as men we're definitely taught to hold our emotions in, not be vulnerable, to tough it out. And I will say there is a skill and level of compartmentalizing, maybe, which is being able to like put your emotions to the side for the present moment.
Yeah.
I think knowing when to share your emotions and with who is, you know, there's specific times and places for that, that hopefully you can build with your friends. You know, if you're like in the middle of class, you know, you don't want to just like start venting when your teacher's trying to like give a lecture, like, hey, but like maybe it's after school, like, "Hey man, like let's go for a walk," or like, "Hey man, like come over or we'll hop online and we can have that talk." But that is something that for everyone I would encourage is that authenticity, that vulnerability. Do you have another one?
Yeah, I think to a degree, meeting people where they're at. I don't like the word compromise because it feels like get walked on.
Yeah.
But it is compromise, and to an extent, I think it's as you come to know people, right? This is maintaining friends. So, like, let's say you got friends, you're gonna know they got some strengths, they got some weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
They can stand up for you in some ways, they can't stand up in others. I think if they're really someone you care about and you know you trust them, at least with some things, learning where those things are and having the maturity to like let them be their person. So learning how to like compromise when it's necessary. Shoot, I had a point I wanted to go back on.
You're here for it, dude. Consistency.
Yeah.
Authenticity.
Well, it was in the authenticity thing.
Being vulnerable.
Oh yeah, when it comes to like vulnerability,
We always find it.
I think it doesn't mean, right, like crying over everything all the time, right? I think as men, like when I was growing up, I was like, dude, no weakness, nobody can know. And like, honestly, that's dumb. But it's super common. The reason I say it's dumb is you can't get help and you can't really have friends. Like you, and I'm speaking from experience. If you're a young man, young girl, young woman, whatever, and you feel like you can't show weakness, I would put all my money down, which is a lot more than it used to be.
Not a ton.
Chill.
For both, I'm not.
It's not a ton. That you feel lonely.
Yeah.
I think, because I was one of those people where it's like, I can't show weakness. I was very convinced, and I still combat it. I was very convinced, like, you can't trust people. And I don't think you can trust all people with all things. Mm-hmm. But there is a degree of support that you can get from people with being honest. So I think the reason I say it's dumb is not because I think you're dumb, but it's because you are going to continue to feel lonely and you are going to suffer as a result. And obviously I don't want that for you, because I had that for 12, 13 years straight before I really started to like allow myself to connect. I'm not going to say you're not going to get hurt, or it might not bounce back sometimes. That's what vulnerability means. The root word actually comes from weakness. Yeah. It's like vulnere or something in Latin. But it means revealing your weaknesses. Yeah. Or making yourself weak, right? You have to let people see like, yo, and it might just be as light as like, yo, I'm kind of struggling with this. It sucks. Like, I hate that I don't see my dad, or I hate that I feel dumb in class, or I hate that. Like, it might just be saying that kind of stuff, but I guarantee you there are people who can relate. Like, I've never gone through something. I thought when I was young, no one's experienced what I've experienced. Not at the level or something like that. And, like, as I've lived life, like, no experience is unique. It can be hard finding the people who have the same experience. Yeah. But to some degree, even if it's not the exact same, everyone's tasted the feelings that I've tasted.
Absolutely.
That was what I wanted to double back on. Lots of time to think when I was alone. But, yeah, doubling down, or going back to compromise, though, I think, yeah, you got to figure out your strengths, your weaknesses, right? Get to know thyself. And that'll allow you to be like, all right, like, I can do these things, and Jimmy over there can't do these things. So I can show up for that, but Jimmy's really good at this, so I can depend on him for that, right? When you know where those things are, it helps a lot in maintaining your friendship. And it also helps you to learn, like I got certain friends I just don't tell certain things to, because I know, like, they can't handle it, or they're going to share it, or, like, whatever. And I just know that's something they're bad at. But they have other strengths and contributions to my life. So it's just learning. And it's not necessarily, like, they're a bad friend. It's they're bad at that thing. I think that's okay. Yeah. We're all bad at something. You're bad at a lot of things.
Facts.
I'm bad at plenty.
No, but I think that's a big thing. And one thing that I do just want to be particular about in the way we're talking about it is don't look after people as like, what can I get from this person? In the sense that, like, you're just going to be taking. Like we talked about, it's bi-directional, it's give and take. Yeah. And sometimes that, yeah, sometimes and not in the sense, also it's give and take, but it's also not transactional. Like, it's not like, I took care of you, so now you got to take care of me.
Oh,
like,
dude, that'll ruin your friendship.
I know.
If you're like,
yeah, sorry. No, I know. But I think that's just something that, like, I just don't want that to be the mindset. I don't want that to get confused. It's like, what can I get from people? You want it to be like, what can we do together? Yeah. Like, what can we build together when coming with those relationships? But yeah, if you find yourself, it's a decent segue. If you find yourself in a position where it's like, man, like, I'm doing a whole lot of giving.
That's self-commentary.
Yeah, and that other person is not doing a whole, and that other person may not be showing up for you. that could be a sign that that may not be a great friendship, or at least it may not serve that specific purpose that you wanted it to serve in your life.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that people don't go through seasons. Seasons as in like, seasons change. And sometimes the season of your friendship is like, dang, we're both giving, we're both doing great. Sometimes one person's just really not doing well, and you're going to have to give for a while. And in a cool, happy, healthy relationship or friendship, you would hope that it'd be the opposite. I've had plenty of friends where I'm not doing great, and they've been able to pour into me a lot with no expectation that, like, I'm going to give back, in the sense that, like, they wouldn't be mad at me immediately if it's like, well, I listened to you yesterday and you're not listening to me right now.
Right.
But in the same way, we know that we have a sense of trust that, like, when they are down, I will be with them. Not because, oh, well, like, they did it for me, but it's because, like, I love that person. And that's someone I care about. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. It's like, you're doing it because you care about them, not because you want something from them.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to get across when it came to something like that. But yeah, that could be a sign of something that could be, I don't want to use the word toxic, but of a friendship that just, like, may not be wonderful. If you feel like it's transactional, if you feel like you can't find yourself being authentic, if that consistency is just, like, not quite there, you don't really, and there's other, like, really simple things where, like, if they're just, like, really mean to you in a, like, non-funny, like, reciprocal way. Like, if you
in a way that actually hurts.
Yeah, like, I got a friend.
Bugs you.
Yeah, like, I got a friend. Shout out to Jordy J, who, like, talks in, like, roast. Like, all he does is roast.
Yeah.
But we have, like, built a level of friendship and a level of love where, like, I understand that language. If you're not at that point and all you're doing is, like, getting roasted, and you're like, yo, I hate this.
Yeah.
That's something that you'd like to have a conversation with, and like. Go.
Well, and I think that's the thing is, like, if you're noticing these things, don't be like, that's not my friend no more, right?
Yeah.
I think that conversation piece is really important of, like, yo, you're not showing up for me, or you're not, you never hit me back, or you are being mean, or, like, whatever, right? I think that's the vulnerability to some degree, right? Being like, they might be mean. If I'm like, yo, dude, you're being kind of mean, they could be like, sissy, right? Like, they could just smack you down on it, and that's the vulnerability, because that'll hurt if you're like, bro, you're hurting my feelings.
Yeah.
Like, good, like, grow up, right? But I think that is what will start to tell what the friend is because then you can start that dialogue of, like, yo, bro, like, you're never getting back to me, like, what's up? And they could be like, yo, I'm really going through it, right? That can help the friendship.
Yeah.
Or they could be like, bro, I'm just busy all the time. Yeah. And if they really are, that can help the friendship. If they really aren't and they're not, or they're just like, bro, it's not that serious, then it's like, all right, maybe, not even like I gotta drop them, but it's like, maybe I need to take a step back at the level that I invest. But I think, that conversation piece is really, really important, because you don't want to just, like, cut people, like, I mean, do what you want, right? I'm not your dad. But I don't usually recommend just cutting people off outright if they don't really, really, really wrong. Honestly, you can wrong me all you want. I don't care that much. If you wrong, like, my people, that's when I care more.
Yeah.
But, like, if they're not doing something crazy, I was going to say punch me in the face, but, like, that's probably happened.
Don't punch your friend.
But even then, I'm like, that's probably happened.
Yeah.
But it's all about, like, context. It's like, can I come back to you, know we're still cool, work through some of these things? Or is it just, like, you're faking it, you don't want to put any more investment in it? So I think that conversation piece can help to tell you whether or not it's time to take a step back or cut a friendship off. Also, if they do something that's really, really hurtful and you never express that it bothers you or hurts you, they're not being a bad friend. You are, because you're faking it and you're lying.
Yeah.
Which I don't think a lot of people want to.
I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah, bro. That's an accountability thing. A lot of people don't want to say is like, yo, well, so and so's always like dissing me for my height or whatever, right? But it's like, if you've never been like, yo, this bothers me, so and so just sees you kind of chuckle, so he's gonna say it again.
Yeah. How would they know?
Like,
tell them. And that's my biggest issue. Is I just like, haha, like, I'm being a good friend by not letting you know that this hurts. But really, it's just hurting me, and that is in turn hurting us.
Yeah. And you're making me think my actions are alright.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I do need to get my car.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Alright, so I think we're just going to cut there. I feel like we had a pretty solid conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just want you to remember that friendships are hard. There's lots of ups and downs, but they are worth the effort.
Yeah,
and I think, absolutely. And I think for me, I can say my friends, my friendships, my community are some of the most important things to me in my life. I just wanted to bring up real quick that
I love my friends too.
Sometimes. No.
Also, wait. I will say, yeah, sometimes it's funny. It is important. You can say this. You don't gotta make it weird, but you can tell your male friends you love them.
Bro, I tell my homies I love them all
My
the
students
time.
asked me, they were like, do you tell your guy friends you love them? I literally texted my closest guy friends. One of them was like, are you okay? And the rest were like, I love you too. Because it was in the middle of a Tuesday. Like,
Tell your friends you love them.
let people know you care about them.
Goes a long way.
In a way that they can receive.
Yes.
Sorry, but talk
No,
about-
that's incredibly important. All I was going to say was there was this Harvard study that was over the course of 85 years, and they were looking at over 700 participants as to what was important to them in their life that led to most life
Fulfilling,
satisfaction
yeah.
and a fulfilling life. And one of the biggest things was having a strong social life and reliable friends. That has led to incredible mental health, even physical and spiritual health.
like longevity, right? Like how
Yeah.
long they live too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you're not going to believe us, believe the research.
Believe hard.
Hit the link in the bio. No. We can, though.
We'll see. Well, yeah, we'll stitch it. Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah, I'll stitch
Or
it.
not stitch, I guess attach.
It'll be there.
The lingo. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, feel like you need any advice, you're welcome to DM us on our Instagram. I'm learning how to video edit, so it'll be there. And you can also just like post stuff in the comments.
Absolutely.
There's this dude I watch on podcasting, and he's always going, make friends in the comments. Y'all all like listening. So honestly, yeah, feel
There's
free to post them in the
commonality.
comments. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys. We hope this is helpful. I hope this is
Absolutely.
helpful.
Absolutely, yeah.
Worst case, I'm having fun with my brothers. So.
Absolutely. I'm like, it's helpful for me, too. It's good to reflect
Yeah.
on these things.
Honestly. Yeah, my name's Keith,
And I'm his brother, Mason.
and this was the And His Brother podcast.